So if you're just trying to get a video to go viral or like do well, there's a couple things you want people to do on your video. One being like the video, two being comment on the video, three being watch how long they watch the video, because personally I think, likes and comments on every platform are kind of just I don't know if they really mean much.
Mm.
I think they do in terms of the user that liked it will start seeing more content like that, but I don't know if for your specific video it means much on that end of things. So I would say if you can keep someone on your video as long as possible, and then they either go check out your profile or they press the share button and send to a friend, those are the things that I think really move the needle in terms of sharing your video to a mass audience.
What's going on? Welcome to the New Music Business. I'm your host, Ari Herstand, author of How to Make It in the New Music Business, the book. Today, my guest is Austin Georgas. He is the senior account manager at Flighthouse Media. Now, Flighthouse, aside from being one of the most popular accounts on TikTok with over 27 million followers, they are now a full-on influencer agency, media agency, and they help break songs on the platform. So they have worked with previous campaigns like Say So by Doja Cat, Lemonade by Internet Money, Roxanne by Arizona Georgas, which we talk extensively about in this show, and how it got over 1 billion streams on Spotify and nearly 2 million videos on TikTok. They've also worked Sunday Best by Surfaces and Roses, the Imanbek remix by St. John, which has over 1.2 billion streams on Spotify alone. And he breaks down exactly how this happens. How do you go viral on TikTok? How are influencer campaigns run now on TikTok at this moment? And he talks about how ever-changing that is and how they keep up with the trends and the changes. If you are super new to TikTok and influencer marketing and know nothing about it, you're going to get a ton out of this episode, and I make sure that I stop and explain things as he's flying off, kind of into the nuanced technical language that he's using, and I make sure that even if you've never been on TikTok, hopefully you'll be able to understand this, and if you are a TikTok expert and you already have millions and millions of views and likes and followers under your belt, you're also going to really get a lot out of this conversation, because Flighthouse is one of the best at what they do. So this was an extremely insightful conversation with Austin. As always, please subscribe to this show, however you're listening to this right now. Follow, hit that like button, hit that follow button. If you're listening on YouTube, please, at the end of this, leave a comment. That really helps. And if not, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review. Those really help as well. As always, you can find all of us at Ari's Take on Twitter, on Instagram, yes, on TikTok. You can find me at Ari Herstand on Instagram and Twitter. Head over to aristake.com, subscribe to the email list. That is where you're going to get this most updated information and stay in the loop about all things new music business. All right, let's kick into the show. Austin Georgas, welcome to the show.
What is up, Ari? Thanks so much for having me, man.
So I have to ask, first things first, you're sporting a Dodgers cap. My beloved Dodgers are world champion Dodgers, but you are in Canada? You live in Canada? You're based in Canada? What's up with that?
Okay, there's a good story here. So my goal has always been to move to LA. So any chance I can get to support the teams out there, I do. Growing up in Toronto, we haven't always had the best luck with winning.
Blue Jays continue to break your heart, huh?
So, LA teams have definitely had their success, especially, Lakers as well. And I just like the logos too. The Los Angeles teams seem to have pretty cool logos all around. So,
you're a graphics guy. Okay.
I'm a graphics guy. There you go.
Dig the design. I got to actually go to the first Dodgers game in, 2 seasons, I guess, a couple nights ago. They're, selling very limited capacity tickets there. And so the prices aren't pretty insane right now because, they're maybe a quarter full, if that. Probably not even that much. But, you kind of buy tickets in pods, and there was nobody for rows in front or behind or on the sides. And it was kind of weird, but it was fun, man. It was so great to be back in the stadium, and I missed it. I love baseball. I love the Dodgers, and it was heartbreaking that our World Series year, we couldn't go to a single game. I had to watch the cardboard cutouts when they were pitching. I'm like, come on, it breaks my heart.
I feel your pain. I mean, so like I said, in Toronto, we have never really been a winning team, but the year before, obviously COVID, was 2019, and the Raptors have actually won the NBA championship that year. So just from going from that and then to zero sports in the whole world, it was like complete flip of the switch. But I feel your pain.
It's coming back, though. Coming back.
Exactly.
Fortunately in the States, at least everyone I know is pretty much fully vaccinated. I know in Canada's a couple months behind, and hopefully it'll hit you guys pretty soon with the vaccines. But so life is coming back to normal. Knock on wood. Sports, music, venues are going to be opening up in California come July, so that's really exciting. All that stuff, but. We're not here to talk about sports today. We're not here to talk about the Dodgers as much as maybe we should. But either way, no, I don't think any of my listeners really care to hear about that anymore. What we're here today to talk about specifically is TikTok and everything that's happening in the music space on TikTok. You are an expert in this space, and by working at Flighthouse. Now, how long have you been with Flighthouse? And just give me a background a little bit on what Flighthouse is for people who don't know.
Sure. Yeah. So I've currently been at Flighthouse for a little over a year now. To give you kind of the rundown, Flighthouse actually started out on Musical.ly, which was what TikTok was before, they actually switched over. And what happened was Flighthouse was essentially the hub for everything sounds and songs. So when you were, quote unquote, what they used to call it, a muser, everyone would come to Flighthouse to find these, custom sounds or their favorite songs or whatever and make videos to them. We were kind of that hub for, all the kids to come and, check out the sounds and make their, back in the day, it was those lip syncing videos that they used to do all sped up. Not so much the same now, but that's kind of how Flighthouse started. And our CEO, Jacob Pace now, he was, I think, like 19 at the time, and he was working for Create Music Group and was like, "Hey guys, I think you guys should really look into Flighthouse, this page on Musical.ly. They're, kind of the hub right now for everything music on this app, this up and coming app." And they're like, interesting. So they ended up looking into it and actually acquiring the page. And fast forward to now, we're, a full-fledged media company where we have, our front-facing side, which is, the 27 million fans on TikTok, which, I still struggle with that number. And then, we also have two other sides to it, which is the brand side and then the music marketing side, which I'm a part of. And we basically, leverage our position in the TikTok space with all these influencers coming through the studio and having those relationships to run these campaigns for labels, and basically just try and break music on the platform. That's it.
Right. So that's what I want to talk about, because you have some pretty impressive stats, and I was looking at your deck before this. Just what your deck says, and I'm sure you can break some other stories down. Your past campaigns include "Say So" by Doja Cat, which got over 1 billion TikTok views. It hit number 1 on the Hot 100, Billboard Hot 100. You worked "Roxanne" by Arizona Georgas, which also cracked the Hot 100 Billboard, number 1 on the top songs on Spotify. And actually, interesting trivia, I don't know if you knew this, Roxanne was the first song to hit the top tracks on Spotify by an unsigned, totally self-released artist. That song was distributed through DistroKid. Like, they're literally complete, like, no label. We're not even talking like a label services company. We're not even talking like, a distributor that's like exclusive, invite only, whatever. It was DistroKid, and he distributed the song to DistroKid. And not only is it at, last I checked, I believe it was like 1 billion streams, I think, on Spotify alone, nearly 2 million videos on TikTok. Let's start there. I want to talk about that campaign, because this song, Roxanne, which was released October 2019.
Yeah.
So tell me about the trajectory of this song and when Flighthouse kind of came into play and just like how this all went down.
Yeah, no, this is one of it's funny you picked this one because it's one of my favorite campaigns that we've just had the pleasure of being a part of. And the story is super interesting. So Flighthouse has always had the mindset of like trying to be, at the forefront and have our kind of ear to the ground on things that are moving. We're not always in the mindset and, waiting for labels to hit us and be like, here's a song. Would you guys like to promote this? We just aren't those type of people. We're always like go-getters and looking for the next thing. So when Roxanne was on the platform, I believe at the time it was at about maybe 1,000 videos under the sound. And at the time, like, for the song of that magnitude, that's nothing compared to what it actually got. So we saw that sound and we were like, you know what, this is moving. We see it's working really well. I don't believe there was necessarily a trend at the time set to that song. So we reached out to the I think it was him or he may have had a manager at the time, but it was very new. Like he didn't have a big team or anything going on. So we hit him up and we're like, hey man, like we've seen your songs moving really well on TikTok. Not sure if you put any money behind it or are trying to take advantage of the movement on the platform, but we'd love to like help you out here and be a part of this with you. And he reached back and was like, listen, like I haven't ran a single campaign for any of my music across any platform. So this is interesting to me. I'd love to, jump on this. Next thing you know, he says, let's do it. So this was, I think, one of our original first, like, quote unquote, blow ups, I would say at the end of the day. And to start off the campaign, the first thing we did was, I think we talked about this in a past conversation, but we tapped into very micro influencers. And I think that's somewhere where people, are like, wait, what? You used small influencers to blow up a song? I think it's a very big misconception with TikTok that you always have to use the Charlie D'Amelios, the Addison Rays, the Dixie D'Amelios to blow
the
up
big
these
stars.
Right. And it's just not the case at the end of the day. What we did was we just used a bunch of micros to start it off, right?
And what do you consider a micro influencer?
It's a good question. So at the time, I would say like maybe you could have 1,000 followers, you could have like 10,000 followers. Somewhere in there is a pretty micro influencer. And when we talk micro, I mean, you could have 100 followers too. I think for us, when you're in the micro stage, it's a numbers game at the end of the day. You're really just putting, videos out to kind of have the more videos you put out, the better chance you have of one kind of blowing up. Sure. And that was our mindset with that campaign. It wasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to pause right there because I think there are some people listening who don't really understand how TikTok works. And so I do want to just step back a second here because the thing that was confounding to me with TikTok is that it works so differently than Instagram in terms of how things go viral or pick up or explode. And it's so much based on the algorithm. And I mean, case in point, like, Ari's take was pretty late to get a TikTok account. And I was, full disclosure, pretty resistant to getting on TikTok, and I'm not a user. I don't care to be. But my 21-year-old operations coordinator at Ari's Take, she's like, "Yo, we should get on TikTok." I'm like, "All right, you know what? You, if you want to run it, I'm down. Like, you tell me what to do. I'll film the videos. I'll send it to you. TikTokify them, and you just run it." And like, so we did it and we put up our first video and, 0 followers and got a few thousand views. I'm like, all right, this is crazy. We had no followers. Then we had like, 10 followers or something. And our second video we put up on our TikTok page got 100,000 views. And I'm like, we had 10 followers. How does this even happen? So like, that's when I'm like, all right, TikTok is different than everything else out there, anything we'd ever seen before, because that doesn't happen on Instagram. Now, it's starting to with Reels because Instagram is trying to compete with TikTok and in the algorithm in that space. But before Reels, this wasn't really happening. It was like, or Twitter or Facebook or anything. It's like you had to have a lot of followers to share that thing. And if you put it out and you didn't have any followers, nobody saw it. But so this is different. So it makes sense now when you're saying micro influencers who may only have 100 followers, they might put up a video, the algorithm may catch it, and it can explode and then can inspire more people to do more videos, right?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. It is crazy. There has never been a platform where you could upload a video, wake up tomorrow, and have 1,000 followers and 100,000 views. It's just
Yeah.
never been a thing. And while you're right, everyone is trying to copy TikTok. At the end of the day, TikTok is still number one because of how, especially in the music industry, of how connected they are with you have to use music to make a video. That's just the way it is. When you go on other apps, that's not a thing. You don't have to select a song first to make a video. And that's it. It just changed the music game. And I think that's the whole reason why when I say micro influencers, it could be someone with 100 followers. It could be someone with, upwards of 100,000 followers. But sometimes, even when you're in that range, the barrier to entry for a video to explode is the same because it's all relative. When you're scrolling on the there's two pages, one's the following page and one's the For You page, right? And no one, regardless of how much you like who you're following, majority of the time you're not on the following feed. You're scrolling through just seeing what the For You page shows you. And the way TikTok is really smart is that using the For You page, even if you don't like anything, even if you don't comment on anything, even if you don't share, it knows that you watch this video for 3 seconds longer than you watched the last video. And it knows that watch time is one of the most important things when it comes to videos. YouTube has kind of cracked into that too.
Yep.
So, I mean, it just goes into another point where it's like, watch time is even something we look into on campaigns. Like, how can we get people to watch this specific video longer? Because that's in turn going to lead to someone, maybe checking out the song or actually liking the video or whatever the case may be. So there's all these little tricks for sure.
Yeah, and I want to get into some of those tricks in a minute, but let's go back to the Roxanne campaign. So you decided to engage a bunch of micro influencers. Now, what does that look like when you engage them and you ask them to kind of work this campaign? Break that down.
Yeah, good question. So like I said, Flighthouse is in a really interesting position, whereas other agencies, they're just kind of, a company or an email that's hitting you up and it's just like, hey, we are running this song. Would you like to, get paid for it? Whereas when Flighthouse reaches out, it's a bit different because we're kind of known in the space as like almost an influencer as well. And, when an agency reaches out, you might not, really know them. So initially reaching out, it was very easy for us to be like, hey, it's Flighthouse. Would you like to be on this song we're promoting? And a lot of the people, even at the time, were willing to do it for free just because of who Flighthouse was. And I think we definitely use that to our advantage. One of the main steps for us, obviously, was just reaching out, saying, hey, we're promoting this song. Would you take $5 for it? Would you take $10 for it? Just kind of negotiating and seeing what the pricing was, what people were willing to pay for it.
And what do you mean? Will you take $10 for what?
Good question. So we would give them this song and we'd say, hey, this was at the start of the campaign. We'd say, hey, we have this song. We're not really looking for a specific creative. Right now, we're just looking for open. We'd like you to use the song and just make a video with it. Whatever you want to make with it, just post it. And whether it's $5, $10, $50, it kind of depended on their following. Usually that's kind of how you gauge, how much you're willing to pay someone. But that's kind of how the campaign started.
So you're paying them to make a video. I mean, and as simply as that. And that's, when you break it down like that, it's like, oh, okay. And now I understand micro, even in a bigger sense. It's like, all right, you're paying somebody $5 to make a video and post it on their own channel. It's not like you're hiring them to make a video for you, like you love their, it's not like you're hiring a video editor who needs to cut a video for you. You're paying them to basically make their own video and put it on their profile. And so with this song, how many of these micro influencers would you say you paid?
That's a good question. So I'm trying to think back now. I would say upwards of maybe 20 to 30 to start off. That was micro. So And then, so a lot of our campaigns, just to kind of broaden out here, a lot of our campaigns have different strategies. We'll use a little bit of micro, a little bit of mids, and then a little bit of macro. Macro being like the Charlie D'Amelios or just the really popular big people on the platform.
Charlie D'Amelio, who of course is the first viral star on TikTok
Absolutely.
with over 100 million followers. I don't know where she is now.
I think she's upwards of like maybe 150. She's got to be close. She's definitely, I mean, that
the
still blows my
16-year-old
mind.
dancer, for those of you who don't know, she basically was, maybe she's 17 now, but she posted TikToks of her dancing, went crazy viral, became the #1 account on TikTok.
Yeah.
What does she get what do you pay her for a video? That's what I want to know.
It's a good question. So I believe, it's funny because it changes. Last time we like really used her, or I myself used her for a campaign. The conversations got upward of $50,000-$60,000 for one post, just using a song
for one video, one video that's under 60 seconds long.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I'll let everyone do the math. If she even did 2 songs a day, if she wanted to, let's just leave it there. But
right. Wow.
Hey man, it's good for her. I can't imagine.
But now it makes me wonder, is that even worth it? Because it goes the other way with the algorithm too. Like I've seen, now maybe not Charli D'Amelio, but I've seen some of these TikTok quote unquote macro influencers with maybe a few million followers, and they'll post a video and relatively it completely flops. It maybe only gets a few thousand views, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, not millions of views. And now you just paid a macro, quote unquote, macro influencer 30 grand, 20 grand, whatever. And the video flopped where you paid this other kid $5 and you just got 5 million views from him.
Yeah, it's a really good point. That's one of the areas that's a little gray for some people. There's a lot of people on this platform that have 1 million+ followers.
Yeah.
And the truth is there's only a fraction that are actually worth paying, just because there's a lot of ways you can gain followers on this app. And some of them are just, like they follow this person for this one video that was really funny. And then from then on, their content just kind of died out. So they have 1 million follows now, but they're only getting 1,000 views. And that's kind of where we come into play, is like when we're running a campaign, we're very in touch with the people that move the needle and that have performed well in the past. So we kind of know those people. But if you were looking on it from the outside like yourself, it's very easy to see there's a lot of people that have millions and millions of followers but can't break 100,000 views. And sometimes it's hard to distinguish who to use in a campaign if you don't know any of that. So you're totally right. I think for our standpoint, we're always in the mindset of like, let's try and use people that are smaller, that are maybe going to have a better chance of actually blowing up. Because I would say personally, this could be wrong, but I would say those people that have 1 million followers and aren't getting a lot of views might actually have a harder time of having a video blow up than that person with 100 followers that's not really in the algorithm.
Now, why is that?
It's a good question, and I don't know if I can answer it, but my thought is just that their content has not been it's been consistently not the greatest, so the algorithm just hasn't been rewarding it, and maybe it doesn't level them on the same playing field as someone who's brand new to the platform and is uploading their first video. Maybe TikTok has a thing where it's like, this person's new, I want to reward them so they stay on the platform. They haven't been here long. I don't know if that's a thing, but and I hope it's not the case.
It seems like it.
But
boy, did I get a boost of confidence when our second video got, went 100,000 views and we got like 3,000 followers overnight. And then, it's now we're chasing that. It's like, haven't gotten 100,000 views since, and we've posted 30 fucking videos. And it's like, all right, well, what, but I can see that this is a strategy probably with TikTok, is like, let's reward them early on. So it's like a drug. It's like your first time you do heroin, not encouraging anyone to do heroin, but everyone's always chasing that high, that first high. And it's like, social media is the same thing. It's a drug, and TikTok knows how to get addicts. They know how to get you using it. It's like you get that first high, and all that feedback that we got, it's like, wow. And now I'm chasing to try to get that high again. And TikTok's like, nah, maybe we'll give you once in a while. We'll get the primo stuff that you got, but you got to keep coming back to us. We're the dealers, and you're gonna keep buying from us. We know you're gonna buy, and once in a while we'll slip some good stuff in there that you're paying the same amount for. So, all right, we're gonna stop the drug analogy because I don't want anyone to continue. I do not endorse drugs.
What happened here?
I know. What the fuck? I went on Ari's podcast and you just started talking about heroin. Man, what the fuck? All right. Anyway, do not endorse drugs. Anyway, let's continue.
I mean, just to go back, I think, just from Arizona Zerva's perspective, that song was really interesting because there is a lot of campaigns where we actually don't use micro influencers as well. We just, we have something that's working and it's more of a pour gasoline on the fire type of song or campaign where, something already has 50,000 videos. There's a trend moving and you'll just be like, okay, well, let's just go get these big influencers that we know is going to move the needle and that are just going to keep pouring gasoline on the fire, taking it to the next level.
Got it. And so just to pause there for a second, because I do want to help out the listeners who still don't really understand how TikTok works. So because we've been talking about views, we've been talking about followers, we've been talking about likes, we've been talking about videos. So just explain for the people that are newer to understanding what determines what viral means on TikTok, what you mean when you say number of videos.
Sure. So to start off, you get on the platform and the first thing you're going to want to do is, I would just say, if you're new to TikTok, you've never been on the platform, hop on and just start watching videos. Start engaging with content that is enjoyable to you. I'd say that's the first best thing in just trying to learn TikTok, because people are always like, what do I post? What do I post? And I'm like, I can't tell you what to exactly post, but I can tell you what's going to help you is going on the platform and just seeing the stuff you enjoy other people posting and kind of getting ideas from there. In terms of like how to grow on the platform and what viral is and how to grow a song. And I think there's a couple things at play here. So if you're just trying to get a video to go viral or like do well, there's a couple things you want people to do on your video. One being like the video, two being comment on the video, three being watch how long they watch the video. Because personally, I think, likes and comments on every platform are kind of just, I don't know if they really mean much. I think they do in terms of the user that liked it will start seeing more content like that, but I don't know if for your specific video it means much on that end of things. So I would say if you can keep someone on your video as long as possible, and then they either go check out your profile or they press the share button and send to a friend, those are the things that I think really move the needle in terms of sharing your video to a mass audience. What's really interesting is when you post to TikTok, they usually send it out to, I think it's like 100 people just to test how your video is doing with those first 100 people. And typically no one knows that. So you'll see a really interesting spike. It's like, you'll see like a spike to maybe 100, 200 views right away, usually. And if people aren't engaging with the video, they aren't watching as much, whatever the case may be, then it won't keep going as fast. And TikTok's really smart in that way. It's like, we're not going to present this video to everyone. We want to see if even just a couple people like the video before we start pushing it out more. And that's kind of what I mean in terms of, the bullet points that you kind of want to hit every time you upload a video in terms of how big it's going to grow. On the side of it, if you're trying to promote music from where we look, I was talking about videos. So videos under a sound. So you can go on TikTok, you click a sound and you look and it'll say this video or this sound has 60,000 videos. And that is the most important thing when you're trying to promote music. You can get a lot of likes on a single video. I actually watched your other podcast with Mothika, and she obviously had a big success. But if you noticed on her actual song, there wasn't a bunch of videos created. It was just like her own video did really well, and that's what kind of transpired into the streaming and all of that stuff. But I believe if her actual sound grew more in videos, it would even increase it more to the next level where other people can start using that sound, and it just keeps the trend going. So
right, and so Mothika, her song Vices, went viral in early, I was like April, May 2020 or so. More or less, it was a video of
Video.
her
Yeah.
in her car listening to her song that had just come out and her freaking out about it. And that video actually went viral. That got like millions of views.
Yeah.
But you're right. Not as many videos were created by other users using that sound. To break it
Right.
down a little bit further, TikTok, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you say use a sound, if I were to hold up my phone right now and just start talking at it and record a little bit
Yep.
of this conversation and then post this bit to TikTok without grabbing any piece of music, you could then open your TikTok app, grab this sound, quote unquote, like what I just grabbed and posted on my TikTok. You could use that sound and you could like put whatever visuals on the sound. So it could be me talking and you could be basically lip syncing me
I could be
talking.
dancing.
Right, dancing, whatever.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
but also sounds can be songs. So like you can search for a song on the sounds section of TikTok, pick a song.
Yep.
There's usually a minute of that song which you're able to choose, and then you can do whatever you want to that song and that sound. And so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it goes both ways where you can then search by sounds, and sometimes it's us talking and that's the sound, and a bunch of people do that. I've seen crazy videos like that go around where it's just like a mother yelling at their kid and then they people use that sound and put it into really funny situations of, reenacting that conversation. But also since we're talking mostly music,
Yeah.
the thing that really what you want to see, like when we said Roxanne got 1.8 million videos using that sound, it wasn't the mother yelling at the kid sound. It was the actual song that 1.8 million people used that song in their video. So when you tap the sound, you see, oh, this is an actual song, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
So on TikTok, there's kind of two ways you can distribute your music. One of them being officially through your distributor, kind of DistroKid, whoever you're using, you can distribute a sound there. It'll come up as an official sound when you're searching it. And that's typically how like a lot of bigger artists do it if they're not as involved in TikTok. But if you're trying to, I always recommend using something called an original sound, which is exactly what Ari described right there. It's essentially, the best way to do it is take your sound, upload it on a video, post that video to your page as a private video. So that video is not actually live for anyone else except yourself. And then you use that sound to create whatever video you want to use. I don't know if I lost you there, but essentially that's called an original sound, and you're just using a sound that's in a video. You can rename that sound. You can do whatever you want with it one time. But the reason I always recommend that is because when another TikTok user comes to that and sees that sound, it feels more organic. It doesn't feel like it's promoted. It doesn't feel like it's an official sound. It feels like it's just part of the platform. It's something some random user created that just feels like, oh, I found this sound. This is so cool. I want to use it. I think there's a common, stigma, quote unquote, when you see an official sound, especially if there's other, influencers on it, that it might be a campaign or that it might be, getting promoted. So I always recommend, just on any basis, whether it's a campaign or you're just trying to promote your own music, uploading it as an original sound just feels more organic to everyone on the platform.
I get that, but now I wonder, because I've seen that, but then I also have seen, I don't know what song it is. So maybe this original sound uploaded by Austin gets hundreds of thousands of other people making this video with Austin's original sound, but it's my song, and then we don't know. So how would anybody know what the song is? Because if the ultimate goal is to get you off TikTok and into Spotify listening to that song so I can get paid for it and I can build fans, how does that help that ultimate goal?
So it's a good question. So there's two options here. There's kind of one option, but the one main option is that the user that actually uploaded that sound, quote unquote, can actually change the name of that sound.
Okay.
So sometimes it may only say original sound by Austin Georgas just because that was whoever uploaded it. But you can actually ask that user, or if you're the user, you can change it to Ari Herstand, whatever song it is, and that'll be the name of the sound. So that's one way. Another way is TikTok has incorporated a new kind of feature on these sounds. So what happens is, it may not even say your name on the sound, but underneath you'll see includes a part by Ari Herstand and then the song. It's a new feature that actually just released. So they have this I don't know what it's called. Like it's
like their version of Shazam or so. Are
there
they
you
like
go.
audio
Yeah.
recognizing? They
That's
can just
exactly
like
what it
tell
is.
what it is based on their audio recognition software.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and sometimes it'll even have it. They don't have Spotify yet, which I'm kind of upset because I'm a Spotify user, but they do have Apple Music, so it'll actually link right to that Apple Music song, and then people can stream it from there. So they definitely are trying to help out the artists nowadays, because I think it was a big problem where you're right. There was just sounds that just said original made by so-and-so. And you're like, well, what is the song even? I want to find this song and you couldn't find it. But now they're definitely trying to, solve that problem for people. And
so that's helpful and that's good to know. So theoretically, if you're starting a campaign or someone's starting a campaign and like, all right, let's not ask people to use the official sound of the song that we distributed from a distributor that's going to show up on the sounds on TikTok. Let's have our first, let's call him an influencer, create this first video, and it's going to be the original sound that they are attaching to their video, so it won't look like it's promoted. We make sure that they title it with the name of the artist and the song title. Hopefully, TikTok's sonic recognition software will tag it and they'll know the song, but either way, we've already titled it so they know. And so then so when you're working with your micro influencers, do you then say, hey, go check out this video and use that sound to make your video and we'll pay you $10 for it? Or what's the strategy now?
Yeah, so typically when we upload a sound with the influencer like you're talking about, the next step would be we'd take that sound and we'd send it off to a bunch of micro influencers. Typically, it might be 10 influencers, it might go all the way up to 30. It just kind of depends on the campaign and how many people we're looking to populate the sound with initially. But I'd always recommend, if you're pushing your own song and you maybe even you're an independent artist and you want to try and promote your song, it's always good to have some videos populated under the sound that aren't just your own, because I think it looks like more people are using the sound. I think it just looks like it's more interesting to people. When you see a sound with zero videos, you're kind of like, I'm not really excited to jump on this and use it with other people.
So I want to get just a little technical for a second, because people I'm sure are listening to this taking notes, and they like the question that I have right now. When you say we're sending a song to somebody, or I'm sorry, we're sending a sound to somebody to use, what do you mean by that? Are you actually sending them the MP3 of the sound, or are you saying, no, here's the video on TikTok, go to that video, tap the use this sound button, so then you can see all the videos populate in that one page? Because if you're sending the MP3 of the sound, I'm assuming you're not going to be able to track how many videos have used that sound. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm happy you're asking all these questions, because I know I'm probably just flying through this because it's second nature, but I understand that other people probably don't get what I'm saying. So you're 100% right. So what we actually do is when we go, you can go to those specific sounds that whatever the user uploaded, and you can actually copy the link. So we actually just send the link right to these micro influencers or macro or whoever they are, and say, hey, this is the sound we're using. This is, whether there's a creative or not, we'll show them a reference video or a video that's already live and say, this is the creative we're going for. Would you be interested in doing this sound with us, or hopping on this campaign, or whatever the case may be? And, typically we've worked with a lot of these influencers in the past, so prices are all kind of already set. We kind of know each other and we kind of know the price that they're going to give us. And yeah, that's kind of the next step, is like, hey, when can you get the video posted? Sometimes we'll ask for a draft. Sometimes we're just kind of easy with it, and we'll say, you know what, do whatever you want with it. We're just happy that you're posting with it. So yeah, that's kind of how we
When you
go
say
from
we ask
there.
for a well, you want them to show you what they're doing. So do you give them much guidance on the creative on what they should post or the style of the video? Like, hey, do this dance or do this meme or whatever.
Yeah, I think no, it's a good question. So we actually have a creative team, a part of Flighthouse, that strictly works on just creative for all our campaigns, and they're the ones that are literally, in the trenches, coming up with these creatives on TikTok all day, scrolling, just finding what's working, what's not working. That's not to say we're hitting a viral trend every time, because
Sure.
the truth is, obviously, no one can do that, but we are very tapped in on that side of things, and we do have a creative team. Sometimes, again, there is no creative. Sometimes we just want you to use the sound and have fun with it. Do whatever you want.
Mm.
Sometimes there's a very strategic, like, this is the creative we want to go with. Use this. If not, we're like, that's the only thing
Give
we
me an
want to do.
example of a creative that's like a trend that your staff has found and hopped on.
Sure. So I mean, I can just speak to one right now that's really moving on the platform. A lot of people are doing this trend where there's this like flips, this flip filter. So you press the screen and your face flips the opposite way. It's like this mirroring filter almost. I don't know if you've seen it on who's the girl that's she had the driver's license song, Olivia Rodrigo. So her new song is moving really quickly right now, and it's because it's called Deja Vu. And every time she says Deja Vu, people keep pressing this filter, and it keeps switching your face. And it's I mean, it's the silliest thing, but it's working so well. And I guess my point here is that, if we didn't know that effect was a thing, it probably wouldn't be on the platform right now, moving in and out and people using it so much. So it's just about, if I can recommend anything to anyone about how to use a TikTok platform, or, one tip that's like very important is just test. I mean, that's what we do every single day, is we test new filters, we test new audios, we test new influencers, we test new, whatever the case may be. There's not one way fits all for every song or every person. But I think testing is the number one thing to do when you're trying to, work things.
That makes a lot of sense. So when you're paying these people, I'm curious at the methodology and kind of how you're coming up with what to pay them, if there is a methodology.
Sure.
You said, all right, I'm going to pay this micro influencer $5 to make a video, and that makes sense to me conceptually. Or Charlie D'Amelio, I'm going to pay her $60,000 to make a video, and like that also makes sense to me, conceptually. But
Sure.
why not pay them for the success of the video? So like do a tiered payment saying, all right, if your video, reward them for the success. If your video gets 100,000 views, I'll pay you $50. If it gets 1 million views, I'll pay you $200. But if it gets, just 1,000 views or anything, below 100,000 views, I'll just pay you $5 or something like that.
Yeah, no. So it's I think there's two answers to this. One being that sometimes the influencers, they're making a lot of money, and their idea is like, either I can just, get the 500 right off the bat from you, or if you're trying to do the success route, I can just go to another agency that's going to pay me for another song. Sadly, that's kind of just the way it is.
Got it.
The other option is, if they do want to go that success route, I would say it doesn't benefit us in the same way, because like I think we've talked about this before, actually, there's this weird thing on TikTok and a lot of, other platforms like YouTube even, where a video could be on the platform for 5 months and only get 1,000 views, but all of a sudden 5 months later it's gotten 100,000 views, and you're like, wait a second, now this isn't working out in my favor because I'm paying them all this money all of a sudden, and it only got 10,000 views originally.
Sure.
So we always try and go with just a straight up payment off the bat. We agree on the payment, and that's kind of how we have done it. I think it just takes out any variables, and it just makes it easier for both sides, because, when we're running a lot of campaigns, we don't want to have to be like, oh, this campaign from 3 months ago, this influencer's video went up to here, so now we have to pay them here. And it kind of would get it really messy for us.
Sure.
And I think just from working with these influencers, a lot of them we just haven't, no one's really using that model right
Is
now.
it okay, no, that makes sense and that's helpful. Is it advisable to well, I guess what do you do in the case where you pay them $10, they put up the video, and then a day later they take it down?
Good question. So in our case, we'd probably, so I know we take about 2 weeks to pay just because that's just our standard, accounting things. But what I would probably do is either reach out to them and say, hey, video got taken down. Can you either re-upload it or kind of just first ask them what's going on? Because
Yep.
we're never the ones to be like, hey, we're not paying you. Why isn't this up? We just
Sure.
kind of want to figure out the situation. If they don't upload it again, we probably just won't be able to pay them because like they didn't fill out their side of the obligation. In the past, we have had videos get taken down and we've paid them already. And sadly, sometimes they won't upload the video and it's sometimes
Mhm.
bigger influencers. And at the end of the day, I think it's just the name of the game. Sometimes
Yeah.
you kind of get gypped and it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, we were working this DIY campaign where we were testing out a lot of these things on our end, and with a new song, and went to someone, and we actually had agreed on this. I mean, we're trial and error, learning as we go, but we
Yeah.
did the tiered success payment model, and
Yep.
he agreed to it. And after 2 days, it hadn't caught. And so he took it down. He's like, "Yeah, that didn't go. So like, let's try another one again in the future." Now, granted, I hadn't paid him because we were only going to pay if that video reached 100,000 views. After a couple
Sure.
days, it would only reach a couple thousand views. So he just took it down. Now, I totally, get you where you say like sometimes months later that video might catch, and there's no way that's going to happen if this guy takes a video down. So I also understand the other side is like, well, yeah, just pay them and have it part of your agreement. I guess I'm assuming you're not sending contracts to these influencers. You're probably just saying, yo, like, this is how it works. Don't take the video down and we'll keep coming to you. Basically, it's like,
Yeah.
make the video, keep it up, and don't take it down, and boom, we'll keep paying you for more videos, right?
Yeah, some influencers are through management companies, so there
Okay.
is, sometimes contracts that have to be in place, but they're very like standard. At least sometimes the contract will be like at least keep it up for 3 months because usually by then the video is not going to change much. So if it
Gotcha.
gets taken down 3 months later, not a huge deal. But yeah, typically we just say, hey. People kind of know the game's been around for a little while now, and we work with a lot of the similar influencers throughout all these campaigns. So they kind of know this is just how it works. You upload the video, you get paid, and things keep moving. There also is the off balls that just don't upload videos or stop replying or
Sure.
simple things. It's funny because we have to tell a lot of these labels, hey, we're working with kids sometimes, and sometimes these kids either won't be responsive or won't upload the video on time, or so it's really funny in our proposals when we send them to these labels, we're like, just be prepared because things can happen like that.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting game. We're not working with A-list celebrities that have managers that'll get it done for us and whatnot.
Right.
So just
Right.
just a little side note there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, you keep mentioning labels. So I'm assuming that most of your clients are labels, like trying to get one of their new artists or one of their artists releases to catch.
Yeah.
Now, how does that relationship work? Meaning, does the label come to you and they say, "All right, they just step me through that process"? Do they have goals in mind? Do they
Yeah.
have budgets in mind? Do you tell them how much it costs, and how does that all work?
Yeah, good question. So typically there's two kind of people that come to us that I would say are quote unquote clients. One of them being major labels, the other one being independent artists or their managers that come to us. Typically the first step is them just sending us the song and us being like, listen, we're just going to give you our initial thoughts. We never take on every song because first of all, we don't want to just take your money and run with it. Flighthouse has never been in that mindset. There are other agencies out there that will just throw influencers at the wall for you and do what they tell you or they say they're going to do. But for us, we hold ourselves to a very high standard. We want you guys to win. And if that's not going to happen, we don't want to be a part of the campaign because that's just, kind of our mindset on things. So yeah, the creative team takes it in and says, hey, this is either a good song or it doesn't really fit our strengths or the platform strengths. We're going to pass here. And the next step would be budgets. So we kind of ask them, hey, what's your budget? We do have, minimums, and those minimums vary. It used to be around like $10,000. That was the minimum. And now it's moving up to closer to like $15,000. And especially for these labels, I think it's interesting because we do really want to work with a lot more independent artists. And it's not the fact that, they can't afford it. It's more the fact that the money doesn't go as far on TikTok as it used to. And it's getting harder and harder, even for labels, to push songs on the platform with less spend. So for us, the reason we increase our minimums is because we just have seen that it's just not working as well if we keep doing these lower budgets for them. So sorry, going back to my point, the next step would be saying, okay, great, this is the budget. Let's move forward. And we put a proposal together. And that's where we kind of engage our influencer team. So just to break it down, we have the creative team, the influencer team, and then the account managers, which is the team I'm on. I kind of manage, just all the expectations between the client, our team, and just kind of that middle messenger. We engage our influencer team, and they're going to be the ones that are selecting quote unquote target influencers that we think are going to be good for this campaign, good for this creative rollout. And that's kind of the process there.
So you have influencers in your network, micro, medium, macro. How many influencers about do you have?
It's a good question. We've got that before on calls, and I honestly couldn't give you a number, maybe like 500.
You don't have them in an Excel sheet?
We do have Excel sheets, but honestly, there's times we've worked with influencers once, and that could just make our network be bigger than ever. I mean, the one question I ask people is like, give me an influencer, and then I can tell you if we worked with them. We probably have. We've worked with honestly every influencer you can think of, big and small, on the platform. And again, I think it's just because of who Flighthouse is. Thankfully, we've been in this space since day one and kind of have seen these people grow from Musical.ly all the way until now. So definitely have worked with probably every influencer.
So I don't understand. Help me understand why you say the money doesn't go as far anymore. Yeah. I do understand that spending $60,000 on one person may be a flop because the algorithm may not catch it. But what I don't understand is if you have a network of 500 influencers, and let's say 300 of them are micros, and you're paying them $5 to $10 to $20 each, how that wouldn't be as effective with the money that you're spending. Why is the money not as effective anymore?
Yeah. I think the main reason is that lots of people are trying to push music on the platform now, and lots of labels are trying to push music on the platform. So we might be hitting an influencer for this song, but someone else might be hitting in this influencer for another song. In turn, that's going to either, that's going to run up the influencers' prices because they're like, oh, I could just start charging more. But that's also just going to make it, they're pushing 4 songs today. That's probably not every day, but there is days where these influencers are uploading multiple songs, and it just gets, the platform gets more cluttered with music. And then, in terms of, the micro side of things, for us, we, have shied away from using that micro strategy as much because it's a lot more time consuming, and it's not as powerful when we have the budgets we do to be able to tap into these bigger influencers that have been proven to work in the past. Especially again, when it's like a pouring a gasoline on the fire situation where the trend's already created, the song's moving. You just kind of have to put more people on it.
How do you find micro influencers?
It's a really good question. So for us, sometimes it's just been that these people will message us on Flighthouse DMs and are just like, "Hey, I love what Flighthouse does. I see you guys promoting songs here and there. I don't know if there's any songs I can be a part of, but let me know." And that's kind of where we introduce them to our quote unquote micro influencer network, and we actually, this is a little gem that other agencies might not be doing, but we have a texting list right now where we have actually brought on a lot of micro influencers, and we say, hey, if you want to be a part of our upcoming campaigns, let us know. Here's a number that you should add, and when we have deals for you, we'll reach out.
Cool. Let me rephrase the question. How does an independent artist who doesn't have $15,000 to hire Flighthouse find micro influencers?
Love it. So what I would do is, first of all, just start scrolling your feed. That's the first thing you can do. Looking through videos that you like and are watching. And then just start clicking on profiles. Some of the easiest way is just to use the platform, just start scrolling and seeing what's there. Other ways is like start checking out hashtags. If you just search up a very generic hashtag that's related to your song or your video or whatever you do, whether maybe it's art, you search up the hashtag art and then just scroll. There's latest videos, so you don't have to search by top. You can just search by latest and just start scrolling people uploading art videos, anything related to that. And then just either DM them, check them out on Instagram and DM them, say, hey guys, I'm trying to, get some eyeballs on my music. Would love for you to either use my song for free and maybe I'll do it in return, or I'll pay you $5 and you use my song and then I get a video under it. So I think there's a lot of ways, and I was thinking about this before because I knew, a lot of people here might be independent artists. I think there are a lot of ways that, independent artists can promote their music. One of the main ways is actually not promoting your music, but just growing yourself as a brand on the platform. I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do. Don't promote your music, maybe promote your talent. I've seen, singers and, talented singers, just go in parking lots and sing covers of songs. And in turn, that blows up their page because they're very talented, singing very recognizable songs. And people are like, oh, I love this. I got to start following this person. And next thing you know, you start scrolling through their videos and some of them are promoting their own music now. But the way they did that obviously is by just showing that they're super talented and they're singing these, very well-known songs.
Sure.
And I think that's honestly more impactful to, streaming and growing your fan base than just trying to promote a one-off song through micro. I think it's just like time-wise too, it's great to just build a brand that on TikTok. So that's
so that makes sense. And just to break it down, we're basically talking about two different methods to reach the ultimate end goal of getting more fans and more streams to make more money from your music. So the two methods, if I'm understanding this correctly, the first method, which we've been spending the most amount of time talking about, is how do you get a song to catch and go viral on TikTok to eventually get people to go stream that song on DSPs.
Yeah.
Now, method number two, which you just brought up, is actually building up your own TikTok profile, posting your own videos regularly that may have nothing to do with your music, may have something to do with your music, may have something to do with your talent, like you said. And then eventually, like the Mothika case, like we were talking about, Mothika is a perfect example of that. She built up her own channel, her own profile, and got followers based on just who she is as an artist and all encompassing of who she is as an artist. Not really much always to do with her music specifically. They just dug her as a person, as an artist, as a creator, if you want to use the buzzword. And then when her song came out, she would talk about that on TikTok through the normal way that she posts her TikTok, and that's kind of what ended up catching. Now, on the flip side, we also had Ricky Montgomery on the program, and he was the former. He wasn't even on TikTok when his songs went viral on TikTok, and he only got on TikTok because people were like, yo, your songs are going viral right now on TikTok. He's like, what's TikTok? Okay, I should probably get on here. And, and then so So there's these two examples of these two methodologies.
Yeah, yeah. One of the interesting things I've heard artists say before is like, I don't even I don't even have my music uploaded to TikTok through my distributor, and I'm just like, really? Like, if even one of your fans is already on the platform before you and decides to upload a video to your song, that's just another chance at the lotto of TikTok and the lottery of someone, blowing up your song on the side. So I think it's just like, and it's funny that you said, I'm not, I didn't really want to hop on TikTok. It wasn't really my thing. Or like, I think the stigma is that TikTok's this place where little kids are dancing and making, lip syncing videos. But the truth is, like, this is the new platform for breaking music. It's the most powerful across all of social media right now. And I mean, all eyeballs are on it. This is how I find my new music. I'm currently 24 and I think I'm old on TikTok, but I still find all my music here. So it's like, it's just, it's gotten to the point where I think like it's undoubtedly one of the best platforms. And I think if you get anything from this, definitely just check it out. You don't have to do anything, but just check out the platform. See if it's something that can work with, your brand and your music. Cause I think it's priceless. It's honestly priceless.
Well, that is a great place to end our conversation. I think we covered a lot of ground, and Austin, I really appreciate all the insight and the knowledge bombs that you just dropped. So there's one final question that I ask everybody who comes on the show, and that is, what does it mean to you to make it in the new music business?
Man, it's a really good question, and I actually heard the question before the podcast, so I'm going to kind of go with what my original thoughts were. But to me, to make it in the new music business is just putting your best foot forward and figuring it out. For me, to get into the music business, the one thing I did was just testing. I reached out on LinkedIn to the CEO of Create Music Group and was just like, "Hey, I am looking for an opportunity." And I just saw what happened. I didn't know what was going to happen. And I think, on TikTok, it's the same thing. You don't know what's going to happen when you upload a video with your song. You don't know what's going to happen if, you get your friend to use your song on TikTok. Just testing things. That's how you're going to make it in this new age. There's not a one-stop shop anymore. You don't have to go and be on radio promotion and do all this stuff. Just test, have fun with it. At the end of the day, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, that's all it is to you, right? It's having fun. It's about doing what you love. And if you make it a job, it's not gonna be fun anymore. So just enjoy yourself, have fun, and at the end of the day, you're gonna figure it out. It's one of the best businesses to be in. And I know there's some people that may say different, but to me it is, and that's why I love it.
I love it. I'm an optimist as well, and I similarly think it is the greatest time to be in the music industry, in the history
100%.
of the music business. So, Austin Georgas, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.